Hey everyone, it's Tom Murphy with Trinidad Times TV. Got started doing some television production back in 2005. We've done a cooking show, we did a health show called For the Health of It, and we're bringing that back. A lot is going on in Trinidad, and I have two guests with me today that are going to tell you what they're doing. And health and wellness is becoming a thing in Trinidad, which is really exciting to see. And so, we've been working to get some things done ourselves in that area, but we're not ready to talk about it yet. But I have two guests with me today, Kiffen Potts Brown and
Hello.
Dr. Ivory Ray.
Hi.
So, for me, health and wellness is something that affects all of us. And in my other career as a funeral director, I've seen firsthand, the consequences of not taking care of yourself. And in the last several months, I think there's been a lot of like minds of like, hey, we can exploit this, not exploit it, but we can grow this. Is maybe way to say it. And Kiffen, if you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then Ivory, so tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is that you're going to be doing here in this next month.
My name is Kiffen Potts Brown. I'm the owner of Curly's, and I also am a Reiki master and own Reiki by Kiffen. So I kind of know things from the business side as well as the wellness side. And we are creating the Trinidad Wellness Festival, which is going to take place May 29th to 31st. And it's going to take over all of Trinidad, and it's going to provide you a view of wellness in so many ways that Trinidad has to offer.
Cool.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Ivory Ray, and I'm a naturopathic doctor that's born and raised in Trinidad, had a lot of adventures, went to school, came back, and I'm passionate about health and wellness. I've been working with wellness in Trinidad for over 10 years, and I couldn't be more excited about this event. A few years back, when I was still working with Mount Carmel, we did a wellness expo in the garden that was really successful. It was really wonderful. There was a lot of practitioners that came to participate, and this is basically that plus Trinidad. So,
Right.
So we're very excited because the truth is that Trinidad's really amazing, and there's a lot to offer, and so we want people to know what there is to offer as far as wellness,
Right.
and then we want for people to expand how they see wellness, right? So wellness
Right.
isn't just the simplicity of the body, although we should definitely pay attention to that. It's the idea that we live a balanced life and that we pay attention to all the ways that support us in having health, wellness, and balance.
Right.
So we're going to be working with business owners, brick and mortar. We have practitioners that will be at the hub, Space to Create. And then there are off-site activities like the 5K, which Kiffen will talk more about, very exciting, archery at the lake. There's going to be yoga, meditation, sound healing, fire ceremonies. So it's going to be so amazing. And there's no fee to
Right.
come in and hang out with us. If you decide to do something that has a cost, great, but you can find out a lot about what wellness is and what actually fits your way of moving through life. Where are the holes in your wellness, in your way of being that can be supported.
Right.
So,
Interesting.
Beautifully stated.
Yeah. Kiffen, I know a little bit about, and I don't know if I say it's Reiki or Reiki?
Reiki.
Reiki. Tell me a little bit about Reiki, because I know a little bit, but not a lot, because I've been exposed to alternative medicine, for a long time. So tell us a little bit about Reiki.
Reiki is basically it's energy work. I use certain words in my mind that sort of help things kind of pass through me.
Right.
To essentially, we cleanse the chakras. If there's something physically that's bothering you, I can sort of aim for that area. A lot of people really like Reiki because unlike massage, you're not getting a lot of, touch. Some people are
Right.
real kind of resistant to that sort of thing. So it's really gentle in the way that it sort of works through your body. And literally, I can tell you, I've had a customer that came in, I had to make him walk up my stairs because at that time that's where I had my
Right.
space. Could barely walk up those stairs, could barely get on the table.
Right.
When I was done with him, he walked standing up straight, and yeah, he's one of my biggest fans. So just that's kind of how it works. I don't know. It's not something you can really explain, but
Right. So yeah, I told you a little bit before we got started. And I'll tell the people a little bit later some of my health issues. But
Yeah.
how did you get interested in it? I mean, did something happen, or I mean, what was the exposure that you're like, hey, I'm going to take this up?
Well, I've always been a little woo woo, as they call it. My mom, I read tarot cards.
Right.
I love crystals, and I actually had an experience myself with the Reiki master, and I just thought that was so. I don't know. It can clear up a lot of things. It's not just necessarily your physical issues, but a lot of our physical issues are brought upon by mental or emotional things, and it has a way of helping you through those things.
Right. Can I ask? I mean, about how old
Yeah,
were
go
you?
for it.
Was it like high school, college, after
I think
college?
my mom sent me to one like around 15 or 16 because I was
Right.
just kind of having some trouble.
Uh,
And
what that was me for with chiropractic. I started going. I was lifting weights in high school and kept popping out my hip.
yeah,
And for $5, my hip got put back in, and it was a friend of my dad's. So it's chiropractic's been a part of my life,
yeah,
for since the 1970s, and that was my introduction to alternative medicine. Because as I told you guys before we got started, it's like I'm not a big guy that's like wants to go to a doctor and get a pill to fix things.
yeah.
It's like I want to try to resolve it myself. So. And Ivory, with you, I know a little bit, but what about other people? I mean, what motivated you to go to naturopath school?
So in my 20s, I started realizing that there were a lot of things that should have been feeling better than they did as far as my body goes.
Right,
I had a lot of gastrointestinal issues, skin issues, rashes, kind of like wounds that wouldn't heal, like brain fog. Like I was really tired all of the time, which is kind of abnormal for somebody in their 20s.
right,
I tried to do some different treatments that just made everything worse. And so eventually I saw a holistic practitioner and we did what's called an elimination diet, which is really about identifying which foods you may actually have a negative response to. Because even though food's great and we love it,
right,
not all of us respond the same way to food, which is one of the things I do in my practice is
right,
reactive food testing. So by taking out gluten, all of the skin stuff resolved. The mood actually improved. There's something called like gluten psychosis or like low mood or anxiety that can come from actually consuming gluten. It's not for everyone, but it's
right,
worth considering. And then I took dairy out, and like the sinus infections I was having to treat once or twice a month resolved. So that was kind of, I guess, what originally kind of piqued my interest in that area. And then I was like, how do you get enough of all of this good information to support the continued work with like healing the gut?
right,
So after my sister passed away and I learned that it can be really hard to go through big traumatic things, I was like, how do I want to walk in the world and how would I like to support people? And so part of that was learning a different way to support people. So I went back to school to become a naturopathic doctor, where I learned some really cool stuff about not just treating the body differently, but supporting other people in being empowered around their health. So they understood why things were happening, what they could do to change their health state. And kind of like Kiffen said, I focus on the physical body a lot with my patients, but I always let them know that like any traumas that they've had, any emotional disharmony, any kind of mental um, ramblings or challenges or beliefs that get in there can really impact and land in the physical body, causing health issues. So in addition to doing the physical health stuff, I've also worked with people around like what can you do to shift kind of what's happening in your energy field, or what like programs you've installed mentally or emotionally that are causing this kind of repeated cycle that you don't want.
right.
So that's kind of how I ended up here. And I love Trinidad. My family's here. It's beautiful. We have
Right.
so much nature. So that's why I'm here.
Well, do both of you in what you do you feel like people are opening up more to what alternative medicine or holistic or naturopath? Do you think they're like, well, we'll explore it? Are they?
I absolutely feel like there's a much more, yeah, people are much more open to it than, gosh, 10 years ago, 5
Right.
years ago.
Right. Well, even though I told you, for the people that are watching, they didn't hear the story, but I'll just give you my background real quick. And that is, as when I was growing up, I was lifting weights in high school and I kept popping out my hip. And my dad was friends with the chiropractor, and so $5, which is about all the money that I had, go back in, hobble into the office, pop my head back in, and away I go back. And so I've always been, an advocate, and even later when I came here in the 80s of doing chiropractic. And it's helped me tremendously because then in the 1980s, I went to mortuary school and I, got hurt in a pickup basketball game. And I didn't have insurance. And I saw what happened to people that were coming in to see us in the 80s that were having surgery and going on opioids. And I was like, I'm not doing that. And I suffered through a great deal of pain. But the chiropractic, generally got me straightened out. And now at this point, at my age, and I'm in my 60s, I go once a week for maintenance, but it's almost like the back injury didn't heal. The second thing that had affected me until my mid-30s was food allergies, as Kiffen too, and you.
Yeah,
It's like food is such a big deal, and I've got to share this story again. It was, and I didn't put it together until I was watching Jay Leno one night, and Ray Perlman from Cheers was on, and he says, "What'd you do before you became famous?" And she says, I worked for a food allergy doctor. And I was like, what'd you do? He said, well, we would test foods with these people, and they were putting drops underneath the tongue. And said we had a rabbi, and he was narcoleptic, and the last thing they did was chicken. Guy falls asleep. A light went off over my head like in a cartoon of like, oh my God, food. I never put together how miserable I was after I ate. Or eating a Snickers and drinking a Coke, which you do in college, and I wake up with drool in my book because I'd fallen asleep. Well, I found out that I'm allergic to corn, and I'm allergic to green chili. I grew up in corn country, and I come here. So it's been a struggle for me, and so I'm appreciative of all that you guys are doing and whatnot, because I don't want to start a medical war, but I'm not such a big advocate of thinking that if I go to a doctor, they're going to tell me what to do and they're going to fix it.
Well, if you don't mind, I would like to just kind of point out, as far as the feeling and the vision of Wellness Trinidad is, it's very inclusive,
Right.
and it's very expansive. So all types of medicine and wellness are welcome and supported, because each person needs to be supported on their journey in a specific way. And oftentimes people have no idea what the options are.
Right.
I'm a big fan, kind of like I learned in medical school. Dr. Bastier was one of the founders of naturopathic medicine, but he'd also been an MD and a chiropractor. Is that you do what works. Yeah. And so there's not one right way. There's doing what's right for the patient and finding the avenue that will heal the patient or the client or the person.
Right.
And so beyond having different options for the physical body or the emotional body or the mental body or the energy body, like we talked about, there's also, understanding financial wellness, or like, why do we do the things that we do, and how can we make better decisions so that there's not the stress component, right? Because stress is so deeply impactful to our health. And so we're really excited about the excitement of our town showing up for this, and then we're excited for people to come and find out how they can be supported. Are they somebody that really leans into acupuncture?
Right.
Are they somebody who massage is the key? Is it somebody who chiropractic is needs? Do they want somebody who can share conventionally, these are your options, but here's what you can do naturally?
Right.
I just think it's so important for people to be informed so they can find what resonates. Do you want to do energy work for that emotional wound, or do you want to know about things that can happen like EMDR or net therapies and stuff? So we really want to educate people, and we also want to share the gifts that are right here.
Right.
Like, it doesn't have to be that you have a crazy exercise program. You can, but you could just go for a walk at the river, join a 5K.
Right.
You know what I mean? You could, just go spend some time with nature. And we're so blessed to be in a place where everything's so close and so accessible.
To have two state parks in one little tiny town is crazy.
Clean air and fresh water, or clean water and fresh air. Kiffen, one of the things that you said earlier, and there's already been some negativity, as there is with social media, and you use the term woo-woo.
Yeah.
How do you use
that term?
I
know it's a bad term.
I do not use that term.
Well, I mean,
that's how people.
People like to.
I mean, this is going to be the they're out there. That's my point. How do you address that, or what do you think of those comments of, this is woo woo?
Do you mind if I talk about the field?
Go for it.
So we actually have a luminous energy field. So they call it the cocoon of man, which
Uh-huh.
is that we are a physical body, but as you know, right? Because when somebody comes in after the soul has left,
Right.
it's just a body.
Right.
We are more than a physical body. I don't think anybody else, I don't think there's too many people out there that would disagree with that. There is an energy force that animates the physical body, that
Right.
brings it to life, and that is how we experience this life. And
Right.
so within that field, there's the emotional body, the mental body, and the energy body. So when she says woo woo, she's just saying that's how somebody else would refer to it, but it's actually about expanding your awareness to realize that we are more than a physical body, and that there may be wounds or, like I said, programs that are residing in that field that are not helpful to people. And so
Right.
what we want to do is we want to let people know, like, oh, you know, you know that you do this and this happens and you don't like that, but you can't stop the behavior, or you
Right.
can't stop the thing from happening. Let me give you some support on understanding how to shift that. And oftentimes you have to remove the program.
Right.
You have to get just like acupuncture, you have to restore that perfect flow so the energy in the meridians are working again, right? So it's
Right.
about reconnecting things. It's about creating flow. It's about creating awareness and removing programs that don't work for us.
Right.
Did you want to?
I would agree with all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I just know I've done some things, and one was, and this is back in the late 90s, early 2000s, was a gallbladder flush from a chiropractor, and I still have the book. It's called Are You Stoned?
That's cool.
And it's, I mean, I have it around here somewhere, and we've shared it with people and saved I don't know how many gallbladders. But well, I better tell my story. Paula would be here, but she's busy. She's going to be my co-host as we do more shows when she's available. But I was able to flush my gallbladder, and she was too. And she had had surgery, and the doctor said, he said, when I go back and I connect everything, I'm gonna take your gallbladder. And she said, no, I'm gonna do this flush. And I don't want to get into specifics. I don't want to get accused of practicing medicine. It's like I'll tell people privately what we did, but it worked to the point where the doctor put everything back together afterwards, and he said, "What did you do?" And he said, "Well, I did the flush that we talked about." And he says, "Well, her gallbladder had been full, and when she did it, she had one gallstone about the size of a fingernail." And he told people, he says, don't tell people, because this is what I do for a living. This is back in 2002. So this is a while ago, and she has done amazing, because of that. But it's things like that where people are like, oh, just take it out. It's like, no, you need that thing. I mean, it's like, I'm sure you can function without it, but it's like, I'm keeping mine. And
Right.
I have, and I've done 2 or 3 besides that and gotten more out, because we eat the American standard diet, and that causes some problems. So that's part of what we're experimenting with too, as far as Paul and I. We are getting right now sourdough bread from people in town, sourcing it, because that's been a huge thing. So what are your thoughts about food, like with sourdough? Because that's become a big deal.
People tend to feel better with sourdough, but if you have a gluten allergy, it's still probably not going to be okay.
Right.
But it does seem to be something that works better. And also, if you're using quality flour and there's not all the extra stuff, a lot of the breads you get at the store have things added in. Doesn't even make sense if you look at the ingredient list.
Right.
And that's part of the problem in general. And we're all going to have some processed food, maybe not all of us, but most of
Right.
us. If you can have less processed food and more real foods coming in their natural state, that's recommended. But yeah, the homemade breads and like supporting people that are using good products and making things
Right.
locally, that eliminates a lot of what they use to stabilize things on the shelf.
Well, we've got some people that are doing a really good job.
Oh yeah.
No, I really do.
Some young people, and it's like the bread is real. It's worth it. Because again, when I learned about my food allergies, I went to the store, and I had to read everything. And if you go look at 90% of the breads, high fructose corn syrup, and finally now in the last 10 years or so, you'll see the ad on there, no high fructose corn syrup, which was a killer for me and didn't know it. So I'm excited that, more and more as I delve into and my wife into these things, it's like we feel better. And as we're getting older, it's like it's nice to be in as good a shape as we are as we get older. Because as I said earlier, if you have your health, you have all the wealth that you need. And I reflect back on how miserable I was not knowing when I ate things, One of the things is I ran track, and there were some days I could run like the wind, and there was other days my coach would be screaming at me, "What's the matter with me?" Because it affected me so much I couldn't hardly move.
Yeah.
And as I was jogging in my 20s and in my 30s, I was getting slower. And it's like, what is wrong with me? And it took about 6 months to a year. And as I cleared out, eating the corn syrup, not just the processed foods, because processed foods are a big no-no, as we're finding out. It was just such a relief to go, I finally feel good. And it's like in golf when you hit a good shot. I'm not a golfer or whatever, baseball, whatever. It's like you strike out 7 out of 10 times. It was just like, if I feel like this occasionally, I want to feel like this all the time. And so that's why I'm excited about the idea of having this smorgasbord of things that we can look at, and you try to find and pick and choose, and you talk to people and you experiment and go, that works for me. So
Yeah, and you get to know people, you get to connect with people you didn't know were around. You get to ask questions without having to make, a discovery call. Like you can just get to know people and see what resonates.
right,
It's just about like expanding like awareness around what's available. And like you said, if you don't know what's wrong, you can't fix it.
right,
And if you have something programmed that you can't change, then that pattern needs to be removed in some way, which always starts with awareness. And then
right.
why does that keep happening?
Yeah, interesting. So in going through the notes that I was asking you for, so Kiffen, so you're going to have citywide participation. Do you want to talk about the notes that we talked about in case I'm leaving anything off the table?
So, I mean, this is going to be really very unusual.
And cool.
And cool, yeah. So, I mean, it really is a citywide thing, like, because it's not just to protect practitioners. There's a lot of things that provide wellness here. So we have the practitioner hub. You'll have people in there selling holistic items you can buy, as well as you can, different energy work, practitioners,
Right.
all that kind of thing. We're even going to have an aura reader kind of thing in there, so that's
Right.
going to be really fun. So that will be our headquarters. People will go in, we'll have a directory that kind of explains how the thing goes. You'll get a directory, you'll have a volunteer that will kind of get you on your way. We have a thing called Seeker XP that will be part of this. It gamifies the whole experience. So you get points while you're exploring wellness in Trinidad.
Right.
So just go talk to somebody and
Yeah,
scan it. You got points to be entered in for a prize.
Exactly.
Cool.
So
Cool.
that's like a thing. All the businesses that are participating will have a QR code in there. So there's something for everyone to get.
Right.
There's a trolley that will be taking you through different parts of town, as well as to Trinidad Lake State Park and Trinidad Golf Course. You will have activities ready for you to participate in. What am I missing? What am I not thinking about?
So we will have around the local businesses that are participating. They'll either have a wellness special,
Right.
or they'll have a wellness event. So like an example would be sound healing, or the History Museum is having the big reveal, where they've had this really cool art project that combines history and art, and it's going to be shown. So we're showcasing how really cool the town is, and it is wellness to take time to go and connect with, history, to go and connect with music, to go and connect with, sound therapy, to go have a healthy meal. So
Well, and there's wellness in community too, and
there's
doing all of those things,
right,
right?
and in being a part of a community, a part of a tribe, and knowing that basically the whole town is celebrating wellness and connection and
Right.
collaboration.
Right.
I think it's something that's really important and needed, and it's something that's often left out, is that like we need to collaborate and support each other and support each person through finding what's right for them.
Right.
So this is a great place. We're also going to have workshops, so that's something that hasn't been mentioned, and those workshops will be based on businesses sponsoring or people sponsoring the workshops, and so they'll be free to the public, so people can come and learn something or have an
Right.
experience without having to pay for it.
Right.
So we're really wanting to make this educational, expansive, connective, collaborative in nature. There's something for everyone.
Right.
There's something for everyone, and Trinidad's great. And if you're not from Trinidad, come hang out with us. And if you're in Trinidad, come hang out with us.
Right.
We want to put not just Trinidad on the map, but wellness as a way of being. That's something that you can do, that you
Right.
can take home and do, and not feel so overwhelmed by it.
Right. Well, one of the big positives, I've been filming city government for 20 years. and tourism board is part of that. And I just know we were part of the Blues Fest,
Mhm.
and one of the things that the community has talked about that they need is festivals,
We do.
and that's what draws people in.
Yes.
And so the resources that we have, the natural beauty, and the people that are doing, yeah, I think we have probably more of an abundance of naturopath, holistic, spiritual type of people.
Than anybody has a clue about.
And
Yes.
yes,
Really do.
yes,
Really do.
because when you start connecting the dots, it's like if we do
Wow.
what you're doing, we combine together, and we can pull people off of the interstate. And because we have 12 million cars going by approximately every year. I think it's down a little bit right now, but we know that they just drive by. There needs to be a reason. Well, we have the state parks, we have the wormhole, we have fishing, and a lot of people don't realize how good the fishing is here. I mean, there's a tournament.
Oh, it's great.
I'm not a fisher, but I've met some people like, oh yeah, the big tournament that was this last weekend. It's like, you don't even see it because they're their own group. And another big thing that people don't know about is there's a lot of birders. As we were doing a lot of tourism stuff, they come and they stay at the hotels, but you don't see them. They're out doing whatever it is that they do, and the hotels and everything sees them. But we need to bring them into downtown, because if you're invested in Trinidad, you want the downtown businesses and everything to do well. And so that's why I'm like, that's why I reached out, and it's like, I forget who contacted who, but it's like, yeah, let's do something on this, because I think we can help. And instead of people doing their own little thing, it's like, let's
Let's do it together.
Let's do it together
to work on it
and say,
together.
hey, what can we do? Because when Trinidad does well, we all do well.
That's exactly right.
And I mean, I saw it when the oil and gas was booming and everything was happening here in town in the mid 2000s, and then the crash, and I can't even count how many people have left, because it's just, things weren't going well. But those of us that are like, you know what, this is an investment in our community. And if whether the Blues Fest comes back again, or any other festivals, we need to draw people in. When they get here, it's like, wow, who knew that this was such an amazing community?
And I cannot tell you, as a owner of Curly's Beads, I do get to talk a lot to people that are coming through town, and I cannot tell you how many are like, wow, Trinidad
It's really
is
cool.
so cool.
Yeah.
Just they'd never stopped. So many are, I don't know what's happening, but this year it's a lot more like, I've passed through here this many
Right.
times, and I'm finally decided to come into town this
Right.
year. And I mean, just the views from them, it's amazing.
Well, I came over 40 years ago, and I would go to parties with people, and it's like, how did you, it was people that weren't from Trinidad, because it seemed like we'd be in groups that weren't from here. It's like, how'd you get here? It's like, I just stopped to get gas, and I looked around. Or my car broke down, which happens a lot, and then Toyota sells them a car. They broke it. It's like, I had to go spend some time here, and I liked it. I fell in love with it. So we know what we have.
We do.
And
Well, and this festival will be able to give people a taste of that,
right.
because there's going to be a lot of things that are that you would be able to have access to happening at the same time. So you go,
Right.
oh wow, if I want to do sound healing, I can go stop into CETA's. They do a once a month
Right.
thing. They're going to make sure to do it then. We've got the museum having the art reveal. We have a practitioner that's doing art therapy that's coming in. We have all of these cool practitioners. We're going to have music in different places. So again, there's kind of like something for everybody, and also you can get a taste of what it is to actually enjoy Trinidad
Right.
without having to research it all on your own, because it's going to be all listed.
Yeah, it's all opened up and ready
Right.
for you to come explore.
So we
Right.
want to promote Trinidad, and we also want people to know how cool it is and all the things that are there already. So if you haven't connected with us already regarding your business or Trinidad, like, reach out.
Yeah, in business, it's $100. Okay,
Right.
it's not going to break your bank, I don't think.
Right.
I mean, we did our best to provide a really fair price.
Right.
Which is thank goodness we have the grants that are
Yes,
supporting
that
this
is
process.
That is thankful
Yeah.
to the
Right.
grants.
Well, we will get that information. We'll edit all that in.
Cool.
We'll put the website, any other social media. We'll put it on here. So as I'm looking through this, have I left anything off the table that you guys want to talk about?
I want to throw. I will tell my story. So I
Yes.
came here 5 years ago. I was a a mush of a person. Okay, I was like I was super overweight.
Right.
I had taken care of my mother for 10 years, so I was still just my brain hadn't even like clicked back into life from living with somebody with Alzheimer's for 10 years.
Right. Oh,
Um,
that's hard.
and so, and my husband and I were looking for something fresh and new and different. And so
Right.
we landed here. Um, like just the nature itself,
Right.
the lack of people crawling all over you. I came from Austin, Texas, is amazing. And then I found Ivory. And
Right.
so what had happened to me was because I went through all that stress,
Right.
I had allergies. I had gone to a doctor and I didn't have allergies anymore, right? So all
Mm-hmm.
my allergies came back and I did not know that that's what had happened. So I was ginormous,
Uh-huh.
just puffed up beyond belief because I was eating all these things I couldn't have. This woman gave me the test. So then I became aware of all my allergies. I had a lot of, I mean, there's a lot of mental, emotional stuff going on with everything I was going through. My kids,
Right.
we were really going through a big change. My kids were going to college and all of those
Right.
kind of things. Um, and so she also helped me with kind of a shift of my mind through the medicine wheel because it really helps you find those things that all those stories in your mind that your
Right.
mind tells you all the time that really beats you down.
Right.
And she, through the medicine wheel, you let that go. And I
Uh-huh.
cannot tell you, like, I couldn't even drive back then. I
Right.
couldn't even drive.
I forgot about that
Yeah, I couldn't even drive myself.
because it was so stressful.
Yeah, now I live on a mountain. I drive up and down that mountain every day
Right.
now, and into high school. I'm into high school,
Right.
into town every day.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, and
So-
it's just this place
Right.
did that for me.
So you got to feel pretty good
Yes.
that and I'm sure she's not the only one that you've, helped, drastically.
It's most rewarding to be able to support people and feeling their best and living their best life.
Right.
Yeah, I
Interesting.
mean, just imagine. I came
Yeah.
from a mush of nothing, and now I'm a founder of the Trinidad Wellness Festival. I mean, that's kind of a big step.
That's a big journey.
Well, Trinidad has some politics behind it, but I was part of the YMCA 20 some years ago, and there's always critics,
Yeah.
and I can see where some people, the one that's why I brought it up, I saw the woo woo comment. It's like, seriously, it's like, you know what?
I know
If-
it's like built into us, and I even said it, and I know, and
Hey,
when I say
but
it, as soon as I said it, I was like, oh, I said that word.
But
yeah.
that's why I'm a champion of all this.
But it
Yeah.
should, because we couldn't talk about it if you didn't.
Very true.
Yeah,
very
but
true.
so I put it out there because I want to quelch it. It's like, don't use that terminology. It's like because again, even like with the gallbladder
Yeah.
and stuff, I had a doctor say, "Oh, that was just, I'm got to be crass. That's just fecal material." When I'd cleaned it all out, and then I was like, "Well, that's odd because I have all these gallstones," and this is from a doctor who's like, "Ah, you didn't do that." It's like, call it woo-woo or whatever you want. And when I told him I did chiropractic, it was like, wow, let's see what's really wrong with you and go do a big x-ray. And I'm like,
I think people are
Yeah.
coming a long way though. I have some really just beautiful, amazing, conventional doctors that are friends or colleagues, and it wasn't the same when I started this
right,
10 years ago. I had some people say interesting things about me too.
right,
I don't see that happening as much now, and I'm really grateful for that. So I think we're all expanding, and like we have different gifts, and how do we use them together to support somebody? And
right,
if you have anybody on your team that doesn't want to work with the other people on your team, that's a problem.
right,
We are here to serve humanity, lift them up, help them be healthier, help them find their way.
Right.
So, but I've seen
Whatever
some
way
really
that
beautiful
is.
things
Right.
happening. Yeah,
Right.
in whatever way that is.
Well, for me, this is the last thing I'll talk about is you probably have heard the term biohacking.
Mhm.
So, I mean, for me, in the last several years, I came across this. We went to a biohacking conference in Dallas a couple years ago, almost exactly 2 years ago, and realized that there's huge amount of modalities of different things that you can do. And there's my example is I feel like I'm drinking out of a fire hose.
Yeah.
And that's my goal in doing this show, is to bring people on with different talents. As you saw, we had the new chiropractors that are going to do a show. I don't have answers. I have questions. That's why I want to invite you guys on here, because at my age, I want to be as healthy as I can for as long as I can. And biohacking for me, it's one of the biggest things I tell people when they said, I would say more and more people are starting to know about it, but out of 10 people, maybe 2 have even heard of it. And the biggest thing is what you talked about earlier is get rid of processed foods.
Yeah.
And I've done that. I got rid of not completely dairy, but milk back in the 80s. Soda, I stopped drinking. And then finding out my food allergies. And I feel really, really good at this age. But biohacking, there's people that are very prominent in it. And one of the best examples is Dana White. He's the head of the UFC or the owner or whatever. And he has transformed his life, by following Gary Brecka and Dave Asprey and all these others. And as much as anything, it's the food that we eat.
Yeah.
And
what we've done to the food that we eat.
Yes.
And the earth.
Yes.
Which is also going to be part of what we're, trying to teach people. It's like, how do we create a relationship with our food and our earth and the way that we engage?
Right. I said the last thing is like one of the things I've done and I've shown them is grounding. It's like never knew what that was until
Isn't
about
it
3
cool?
years ago.
It's one of my favorite things
amazing.
ever.
It's so
It-
easy.
We have a sheet. The only problem is Paula occasionally gets achy, and so we unplug it, and then sometimes we forget. It's like we got to plug it back in. So, but the path that I showed you outside, I've been working on this for several years. I can't because I've had other things going on. Eventually, the property that I have on the north side, even though I bought it for a parking lot, we have paths and everything there. And I put in there, I was born and raised Catholic. And in Catholicism, there's 7 sacraments. Well, now with yoga and everything, there's 7 chakras. And so my plan is to have that out there so that people, if they put on grounding shoes, I don't want them to walk barefoot because God knows how many nails and pieces of glass are out there.
I got you.
But the idea is to have it as a meditative space
Right.
that people can come and that's what we want to emphasize is and I just know people when I tell them about grounding, I'm like, it works.
Information for awareness and having tools in your toolbox. That's how you get better.
Yeah.
We always want to know, like, here's the thing. There are times when I need somebody to take care of me, and I'm not going to ever feel bad about that.
Right.
You should know who those people are and how it's
Right.
going to help. And how can I also take care of myself, right?
Right.
We want to be really involved in the way that we take care of our bodies, our minds, and our souls. We want to have a way forward where it's
Right.
not just feeling like we're always relying on somebody else to fix it for us. We have to know what works for us and where to get support.
Exactly. That's what I think is you should take more control rather than just accept.
Like ownership. This
Yes.
is my body. I need to care for it.
Yes.
What's that going to look like?
Yeah.
What
And
feels good?
it took me a long time. I have nothing against traditional doctors and medicine because it has its place. It just hasn't always worked for me. They didn't solve the problem. I did by going and asking different people. Just like going to the chiropractor and saying, I do that, with reflexology. It's like, what's reflexology? This is almost 30 years ago. And you're like, okay. And I didn't believe it until
Until you did.
well,
Right.
what I was running a lot at that time, and
Yeah.
what happened is I would feel really heavy here, and I couldn't move. And I mean, I'd be running, and I'd be a mile or 2 away, and it's like I'd have to stop, and I could barely move. And it hit my thymus, is where it really affected me and slowed me down. And so I'd be like, I don't understand, and I would go back and I would read the labels, and all of a sudden, of what I'd eaten, it's like, oh, that bread had high fructose corn syrup. So doing like what you said, the elimination, it's like, okay, so I'm going to eliminate that, and I go running again, and I feel great. And I experimented a few times, and I feel crappy. And one time, one of the things I'm allergic to is carrots. Well, Paul put some carrots in some food and didn't tell me. It's like I was just wondering. It's like I didn't fall asleep till 4 a.m. So that's how it affected me. During the day, it made me sleepy, and at night I would lay down and I couldn't fall asleep. So like you, it's like I had brain fog a lot of like just because I was tired.
Yeah, you didn't know why.
Yeah. So anyway, it's exciting. Whatever we can do, as we work together and support each other, we lift up each other and we lift up the town, and that's
what
my
we're looking
purpose in
for.
this.
Yes, and we do want to thank the city and Space to Create for
Create
supporting.
Trinidad, yeah.
Yeah, Create
Right.
Trinidad, because that is helping to make this festival possible.
Cool.
Yeah. And then each person that participates in whatever way they participate also makes it possible. So
Okay.
this is a web where we all participate in making something cool happen.
Cool.
Yeah, and the more they participate, the better.
And whether
Yes.
they call it woo-woo or not, we don't care.
Whatever you want to say.
Whatever
Yeah.
works.
Yes.
That's the key.
Yeah, do what works.
Yeah.
Do what works.
Yeah. Ladies, if I left anything on off the table that you want to talk about, are we forgetting anything?
I think if they want to go to wellnesstrinidad.com or to the page on Facebook,
Which is also Wellness Trinidad.
yes, we are going to start listing like what are the events, when are they happening, and where. What types of practitioners do we have? So we really want you to be paying attention, following us, building the excitement. It was so yummy to reach out to people and say, "Hey, we'd like to include you," and people would be like, "Oh, I'm so excited! This is so amazing!" And
Right.
so join the excitement,
Yeah.
join the team, man. It's all of us in it together.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And let's go Trinidad. That's what we
go
want.
Trinidad.
Is we want Trinidad to thrive.
A smorgasbord of wellness.
There you
Thank goodness.
that's good. Ladies and gentlemen, with me today was Kiffen Potts Brown and Ivory Ray. I'm Tom Murphy, and this is For the Health of It, Trinidad, Colorado. I probably would get my other two shows that I did almost 20 years ago. Dr. Jerry Saihaki and Dr. Ron Clark. I believe that we did a couple of shows with them a long time ago. Completely different than what we're doing here. This is just more informational. I think we went to the clinic and did some stuff. But other than that, that's a wrap, guys. Please check us out on Trinidad Times TV. Our website and everything is going to be coming up soon. So thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.